I've watched a lot of movies this year, 323 to be exact, which I realize is probably 50% of the movies I've watched in my entire life. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a list of the 36 movies that I watched for the first time this year that really stuck out to me. Side note, these are not just movies that came out this year, but rather any movie that I watched for the first time this year, from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Alright, pleasantries out of the way, I will now word vomit about my favorite movies to you. At number 36 we have Coherence. This is a low-budget, sci-fi, psychological mystery of sorts that I've been hearing good things about for around a year before I decided to watch it. Man, this thing is so cool. My friends and I watched it all on Discord together, and it was just full of like, oh, that's that guy, oh my god, wait, that's that, just over and over throughout the whole movie. It was really fun. The story follows a dinner party with a group of friends that all have their own little quirks and character pieces. They also all have secrets and demons that come to play within the movie. I don't want to spoil any of the movies on this list, so I'll keep my synopsises like brief, so that I'll just hook you for the movie so that you might want to watch it. The sci-fi element of this movie rears its head when they realize there are copies of themselves out on the streets, and they end up bumping into each other, and that spurs the rest of the movie. Imagine you shatter a universe into thousands of little pieces of little glass. That's kind of what this movie is. It's really cool, and it's done on a small budget, so I think for anyone that's really into filmmaking, they would really enjoy this movie, and I think anyone that just likes a sci-fi sort of mystery thriller would also really enjoy this. Next on our list is Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. This is just flat out a great war movie, and I'm sure most people have seen this one by now. It's the one with Harry Styles in it. Feels like everyone I've ever talked to about this movie has already seen it before I did, so I feel like I was late coming around to this one. I think the color grading is something that really sticks out to me when watching this movie. The deep blues and a lot of the grays that are in this movie really lend to the atmosphere of hopelessness within this movie, and the leads are great, and man, do I love Tom Hardy doing a weird little voice. I know I mentioned it earlier and that it was a point of controversy when the movie came out, but I actually think Harry Styles is really good in this movie. Alright, I'm gonna warn you now, the next 4 movies on this list I'm gonna be using the word fun a lot. I think all of these movies are a blast, so it's gonna be the adjective I use a ton. At 34 we have The Nice Guys. This is a Shane Black movie, tried and true. It has all the comedic elements, it has all the action, it has that Shane Black pizzazz put on top of it. Russell Crowe plays the stoic to Ryan Gosling's goofier and more unprofessional, and these two really hold your attention when they're on screen together. It's really a joy to watch. I think this movie's great, and I wish we got more of these types of movies, just kind of fun adult movies that are uniquely themselves, and I feel like this year we had a lot more of those than the last few years, so I don't really know what I'm complaining about. Really good time, highly recommend. At number 33 on my list, I have Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillette's Ready or Not. I really didn't know what I was missing having not seen this movie yet. This is right up my alley. I love horror, action, comedy as like a Venn diagram, and this hits all three like right in the middle. I love it. Samara Weaving is killing this performance the entire way through, pretty much carrying it on her back. Not to say that everyone else is bad, but rather she is just that good in this movie. And all the horror and gorier elements of this movie are played in like a much more fun way than normal. I don't know, kind of just sounds like I'm desensitized to that type of stuff having watched more movies, but who knows? But like I said earlier, it's just so much fun. The premise revolves around a cultish family of board game creators that has a long lineage in that industry, and Samara Weaving's character is marrying into that family. A ceremony that they have the night of the wedding is that they have to play a game. And the game that is chosen is pretty much hide and seek, and she has to hide from all of these people trying to kill her. She has to fight and hide and run away the entire night until right when the sun rises, something insane happens that I won't spoil, but you need to watch it. The first time watch of this movie is incredible. I will not ruin that for you. Please go check it out. Number 32 is Richard Linklater's Hitman from this year. I heard about this movie last year during the festival circuit, and people were saying it was really, really good. As you'll see from a lot of these movies, I judge things from the poster very incorrectly. There's this one poster, I don't know if I'll put it up or not if it's still there, of Glen Powell in like an alley, and I thought this was like a noir-ish like crime thriller where he's dressing up as different disguises to sort of catch the bad guys. I was wrong. Very, very wrong. This is like a really fun, like almost rom-com at certain points. It's just a blast overall. Again, very fun movies here right in a row. And obviously I like all these movies because they are on my list top 36 of my entire year, so the top 10% of what I saw. Glen Powell shows everyone why he graduated from the Tom Cruise school of being a movie star, and I'm very excited to see him in movies forever. Like, this is going to be a great time for movies. This movie sadly only released to Netflix though, which I think I would have had fun seeing it in a theater, but I think it plays just as well at home. I really enjoy it. The visual language isn't too intense or crazy. It's pretty bare bones in that way. It's kind of like a Netflix movie visually, but I think that a lot of the other pieces there really bring that up. Cannot express how much more we need these types of movies to be coming out, so please check this out. We have back-to-back Linklaters, guys. Don't be alarmed. We have a second Linklater movie, and this is called Everybody Wants Some. I love baseball. But this movie's not really about that. It's just about a baseball team living life, being pals, being bros, and it's awesome. The whole movie is kind of like that meme where like dudes become friends in 5 minutes just after meeting each other. That's kind of the whole movie. This is just another stellar Glenn Powell performance as well. I think that throwing this on will put anybody in a good mood. It's such a feel-good movie that I think you should just watch it. I don't really have much to say on it. Not many movies give me this feeling of like watching people hang out and having a good time doing it, but I really do love Everybody Wants Some. At number 30, we have Godzilla Minus One. I've hardly watched any of the real Godzilla movies from that franchise, but I really hope to eventually cover them all one day in like a huge video, so we'll see when that happens. But this movie hit me like right in my core. It's such a solid monster movie while also having a lot of like compelling story beats about characters and family and things like that. I don't have a ton to say about this movie other than like go watch it. I seriously regret missing this in theaters. Like I wish I got that experience. Number 29 is Train to Busan. This is the zombie movie. I love trains and movies set on trains and everything about trains. There's one on my hat. So getting to watch this train be hijacked by zombies was an absolute delight. It is also gut-wrenchingly sad and almost made me cry towards the end. Train to Busan has so much heart packed into this small movie. The action is incredible too. They really put a lot of intentionality into the train set and a lot of the action set pieces between the zombies and the humans, going between cars, and the environment of each car is different. It's really great. Coming in at number 28, we have Philip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. I had never seen this movie, obviously, because it's on this list, but I've been hearing about it for years and years and years, my whole life, that it's such a classic. And I wasn't sure which one people were talking about, because there's like 3 different versions, but I watched this one, and I've been told that this is like the consensus, the good one. It occupies an interesting space in the horror genre because it's not obtrusively scary the entire time, but rather it really creeps up on you as you're watching the scariness of the situation that the characters are in. The premise is incredible and it feels way ahead of its time, even as a remake. It's a classic and I think everybody should watch it. And again, I've never seen the other versions, so I don't know if they're better or worse, but I've heard this is the good one, so check this one out on my recommendation. Number 27, yeah! Steven Soderbergh's Ocean's 11. My friend Aiden had been trying to get me to watch this movie for upwards of a year before we actually got to sit down and watch it. Holy Lord, I'm glad I did. This is the definitive heist movie of its generation. Clooney and Pitt are doing incredible work back and forth on screen, and it makes me understand why they made that movie Wolves this year, just to get them back on screen together. Even the supporting ensemble is really knocking it out of the park with Damon, Julia Roberts, Casey Affleck, and Bernie Mac. It's so great. Keeps you engaged for every second that it is playing, and I think it's the perfect heist movie. I'm gonna take a little pit stop here and just say that I know a lot of these movies are like classics that everyone has seen. I understand if you go to the comments and type, "Oh my god, I can't believe you haven't seen this before." I know, but I'm just really glad I'm able to consume all of this film history like in a succinct amount of time and really glean as much as I can out of it every time I watch a movie. Classics are classics, and I'm obviously not adding much to the conversation around any of these totemic movies, but I really just wanted to put a spotlight on some movies I really enjoyed this year, just to see maybe if someone else hadn't seen them, they would check them out on my recommendation. Who knows? At number 26, we have John McTiernan's Predator. Dudes rock and they're also miserable and scared. This thing goes at 1,000,000 miles per hour in the beginning with dudes rock propaganda, and it totally gets me. Then they're dropped into a jungle and torn to shreds by an alien for the rest of the movie. This is the best Predator movie by far, and I understand why they crossed this over with the Alien franchise as well. I feel like the first movies are structured very similarly, and I understand how like studio executives would be like, put those two together now. Shit rocks, man. Hell yeah. Number 25 is Devil in a Blue Dress. I had never heard of this movie, but was scrolling Netflix one day with some friends and I said, hey, that looks interesting, we should watch that. It's a 40s noir with Denzel as the lead. Who wouldn't click on that instantly? I think after some time I may have placed this a little bit too high. I haven't really thought about it as much as I thought I would after watching it, so maybe it's a little too high on this list, but I do really like it. Don Cheadle plays a guy who flies off the handle and has Denzel's back throughout the entire movie, so that rocks too. The tone, the setting, it's all there. I really think this is an underrated gem that a lot of people should watch. It's a really fun neo-noir sort of crime movie too. Next on the list is Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue. This is something I don't ever think I'll watch again, but I think it has such a specific place in the pantheon of cinema that I couldn't not cover it. The legend of Satoshi Kon is so interesting to me, as he was an incredible animated filmmaker who was ripped off by a lot of American directors and then died very young, only making 3 or 4 movies and a TV show. I think his works are staggering. I haven't made it through all of them, but I've watched some of Paranoia Agent, I've watched Perfect Blue, and I think that he is truly a generational talent, and it's sad that he died so early. His impact on Western storytelling has been seen through a lot of Christopher Nolan movies, Darren Aronofsky movies, and I think that they all start here at Perfect Blue. Movie though, it's wow. It is a rough watch. It follows a pop star who leaves her stardom to try and be an actor, and she kind of gets swallowed up by losing her sense of self and also having a stalker, and it becomes psychological and magical to some degree. It's insane. I think that its themes actually have aged incredibly well, and it rings true today that a lot of things with influencers and celebrities have gotten worse since then. Warning, this movie contains SA, and it is depicted on screen, and it is really hard to watch, so before you watch this, you have been warned. Only watch it if you know what you're in for and you know what you can handle. Number 23 is Renee Claire's I Married a Witch. I was just scrolling on HBO Max one day and decided I wanted to watch an older movie, and this popped up, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I love this movie. I was so thoroughly impressed with how well made it is and how before its time it is. A witch comes back to a small town to seduce a politician who is running for office in an attempt to make him pay for the sins of his father in the past. And again, it is way ahead of its time. It's very funny. The camera work is incredible. A lot of the characters are really well done. I think it's a great time. It's only like 80 minutes long, but check it out. It should be on HBO Max. At number 22, we get to stay on the channel theme and talk about Wes Ball's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Obviously, I have an upcoming video on this movie in the next few weeks because I'm covering all of the Planet of the Apes films right now. If you want to go check out my other videos, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to keep this super brief so that I can talk about it all in that video, but I loved this movie in theaters. I think the way they soft reboot the Apes universe to be like way in the future where humans aren't really a part of it anymore, it's mainly apes, is really interesting. And I love the Eagle Clan. I want to join. Let me join. Let me have a little eagle on my arm. Okay, look out for my video on that in a few weeks. At number 21, we have the most recent entry to this list for me. It is Mike Nichols' The Birdcage. I only watched this a few weeks ago, but man, this thing is undeniable. It is a ball of fun and has some great performances from Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. And I didn't even realize Gene Hackman was in the movie because I was too obsessed with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane's performance. It's about a gay couple's son who comes home and announces he's getting married, and they have to stage an entire elaborate dinner with this Republican family to show them that they're not gay. It's just insane and very funny. One of those hijinks movies where it's just you're waiting for the next domino to fall in the story to see where it's gonna go, and you don't really know where it's going by the end. It's great. You should check it out. At number 20, we have Luca Guadagnino's Challengers. I saw this in theaters earlier in the year, and I instantly thought it was going to be my favorite film of the year. And it was for a while. I've changed it now. We're getting to the 2024 movies, but this thing is crazy. I think Mike Feist is the heart and soul of this movie, with Josh O'Connor playing a really good foil to his character. I think Zendaya is good as well, but I feel like those two are really battling on the screen, then you see it the whole time, and it's great. The amazing score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross just sums up the whole movie and ties it together in a neat little bow. Also, the time period they chose is amazing, and I think they're really true to the time and the clothing and everything around in the sets. I love it. I think it works really well. I think this movie rocks, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it as soon as you can. Watch some good fucking tennis. Number 19 is Wes Anderson's Asteroid City. This is my favorite Wes Anderson movie that I've seen for sure. I think the use of color in this movie is astounding, and the Wes Anderson shtick really works on me in the setting and time, and it all works together really, really well for me. I think the ensemble cast is really good, and everyone plays their part incredibly well. I don't know, this one just makes me feel at home. I'm a huge fan. Number 18 is Emma Seligman's Bottoms. This is a perfectly executed comedy with some of the best young talent in Hollywood right now. Ayo Edebiri and Rachel Sennett are a dynamic duo that we will see in movies for years to come, and they will be great. Every joke lands, the absurdity feels just right, and the world feels lived in for a comedy. I really enjoyed this one from last year. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. At number 17, we have Jane Schoenbrun's I Saw the TV Glow. This is one of my favorite movies of the whole year. It's actually number 2 on my ranked list, and I heard the director talk about it on the Big Picture podcast way before I even saw the movie, and it felt like it unlocked something in my brain about filmmaking, and I was so interested to watch this movie. This is the most successful interpretation of the school of David Lynch that I can think of. Very few can pull off the uncanniness of the suburbs like Lynch and Schoenbrunn. I was amazed by this movie and how good it was. I know a lot of people have issues with the pacing, but I really think it was perfect. Like, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I know there was an issue that it came out that there was a lot of footage that was missing from the final post-production, like they just lost before they got to the edit. I didn't really notice it personally. This is another movie where the use of color is masterful in every single frame. Every frame is shouting at you to feel something, and it works. I think the performances are great, and I think allowing the actors to play their characters pretty much through every single age except right at the beginning is really good. I liked seeing Justice Smith as like a 70-year-old man. I thought it was funny. Please go watch this movie. I think it's great. But now with number 16, we have reached my favorite movie that released this year, Adam Remeyer's Snack Shack. I heard of this movie again through the Big Picture podcast, but only ever heard about it in name, never like what the movie was about or who was in it or what it was. I was cleaning some movies off my 2024 list, just trying to knock out a few of the releases from this year, and I stumbled across this and really loved it. I cannot fathom how much I loved it. It was amazing. It's such a tight-knit little coming-of-age drama, but it's also very funny. This is Gabriel Labelle's best performance, and proved to me that he is going to be around for a while. It's about some shithead teenagers just trying to make some money over summer, then a girl gets involved, and it all just kind of goes off the edge. It's very simple, but I love it. At number 15, we have Jackie Chan's Police Story. From a filmmaking standpoint, this is a benchmark. I can't believe he starred and directed in this movie. I'll say this undoubtedly a few more times in this list, but this is one of the best action movies ever made. The stunts he's doing and the set pieces they're pulling together are absolutely ridiculous. One of the most fun movies I've ever had the pleasure of watching. I bought the Criterion for this along with the second one, so I'm gonna have to do a rewatch and a first watch of the second one as soon as I can. At number 14, we have Martin Brest's Midnight Run. This fucking rocks. De Niro gives such a great performance while also letting his comedic chops show, and he plays the straight man in a movie like this so well. Charles Grodin is also great. The screenplay is airtight, and I think that any writer should look at this script as a paramount of what you should attain as a writer. An amazing movie with amazing performances about a guy who's on the run until De Niro picks him up and finds out he's scared of planes, so they have to road trip across the country to turn him in. For number 13, we have The Devil Wears Prada. Oh my god, I love this movie. Sometimes I think about it for more than 10 seconds and I have to go and watch the entire movie so that I can just get it off my brain, but like in a good way. Meryl Streep's great, Anne Hathaway's great, Emily Blunt is great. I think this movie is just very comfy for me and I like to watch it. That's all. I know this movie's been seen by like everybody, but I hadn't seen it, so I'm excited that I got to watch it and really enjoyed it. Number 12 is Cameron Crowe's Jerry Maguire. I haven't been super huge on a lot of Cameron Crowe movies up until this one, but it really clicked for me here. Tom Cruise is simply one of the most compelling actors that has ever graced our screens, and I think this is one of those movies that solidified him as such. He plays a sports agent who has a moment of reflection and realizes that he's in this business for the wrong reasons. He kind of goes off the deep end and has to find himself through his job, through his relationships, and it's just a really sweet movie. I love this movie. For some reason, when I looked at the poster, I thought this movie was like Forrest Gump, so I had passed on it for a few times, but then when I finally got to watch it, I was proven wrong. I don't know why I do that so often. I just kind of assume what a movie's gonna be based on the poster. It's really silly. At number 11, we have Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise. Oh my god. I love the Evil Dead franchise, and Sam Raimi is one of those Mount Rushmore directors for me. He always makes so many bold and interesting decisions in his movies, and I just really appreciate the way that he makes movies. But he didn't make this one. I was worried that this would suffer from reboot-itis and that it would fall flat when I watched it, but man, it reinvents this franchise in such a new and horrifying way. It keeps a lot of the tongue-in-cheek comedy from the originals, but lessens it and actuates the horror elements for sure, and the gore. The gore in this movie is off the chain, and I'm not a big gore guy. Like, I don't watch the Saw movies all the time or anything like that, but these effects are insane. I love showing this movie to friends for the first time, just watching their mouth open and close and their eyes widen the entire time. It's truly great, and I think that if they gave directors creative freedom to make these movies, they could make 100 movies like Evil Dead Rise, and they'd all be great. Top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. At the 10 spot, we have Ted Post's Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I made an entire video on this movie a few weeks ago, so please check that out. This movie just rocks. It's so good. I love the way it deals with nukes and nuclear war, and I love the nihilistic tone to this like campy sci-fi movie. Keeping this one brief because I already made a video on it, so if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts, go watch that video. It's from a few weeks ago. But yes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. For number 9, we're seriously getting into some of my favorite movies ever made that I watched this year, and at number 9, we have Mission Impossible Fallout. This is a special movie. Tom Cruise is doing some of his best work, and the metatextual commentary on his stardom and like rise to celebrity is so interesting to me. I love Mission Impossible. It's become my favorite franchise after watching it this year, and I will absolutely be covering it on the channel at some point. Henry Cavill is an incredible foil to Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt, and it makes Cruise shine even more in this one. The action's incredible, and obviously the stunts are amazing. I mean, Tom Cruise learned how to fly a fucking helicopter for this movie. That's insane. This is a masterclass in modern action, and I think everybody should watch it. Number 8 is Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. All-timer just for the title, by the way. It's such a good title. This is the quintessential Cold War movie. The comedy infused with this bleak and dour setting is really refreshing and way ahead of its time. The decision to shoot this in black and white I think is also very interesting because I thought this movie was way older than it really was. Kubrick was funny, man. He wasn't just a grump. Peter Sellers playing 3 different characters stellarly is something we just don't get to see in movies anymore, and I really appreciate it in this one. The story revolves around a crazy general who believes the water is fluoridized, and he sends nukes to Russia all at once, and it's kind of a breakdown of how the American power system is really flawed. It bounces between the crazy general, the planes with the nukes, and the war room with the president, and it's so good. If you haven't seen this one, this is a stone cold classic. Go check it out. At number 7, we have the ultimate Christmas movie, John McTiernan's Die Hard. No, I don't really care about the is Die Hard a Christmas movie conversation. I actually think it's really annoying if you care too much either way of the spectrum. Who cares? It's Die Hard. It's perfect. It does everything right. Bruce Willis is incredible. He plays a guy at an office building where there's terrorists or robbers, they find out eventually, just looking for a big score, taking over this building, and he has to fight his way up to the top. The blocking in this movie is something that it's that's just on another level in my opinion. You know where everybody is at every point of the story and exactly why they're there and why it's important. Bruce Willis is at his peak here, by the way, just chewing on these action one-liners. It's Die Hard, man. At number 6, we have Paddington 2. I have an affinity for bears. They're my favorite animal. And one of my favorite activities is playing the bear cam on my second monitor and just watching them on the trail for hours at a time. It's my favorite. So I was teed up to absolutely love this movie. And don't get me wrong, I love the first movie just as much, but I think Paddington 2 is perfect. I remember seeing online for so long that people gave this like a 5-star review, and I honestly thought they were doing the Minions thing where they just kind of picked a kids movie to go all in for, but no, I get it. This is really a 5-star movie. I can't even fully formulate into words why I love this movie so much. I just think it makes me feel at home, and I love this little British bear. He's my friend, okay? Go show this to your family. We entered the top 5 with Sean Durkin's The Iron Claw. I saw this movie on New Year's Day of 2024, and it has stayed in my top 5 the entire year. This is such a powerful movie. Here's a review from David Sims from the Blank Check podcast. I think about this review all the time because that's really what this movie is. I wasn't at all and still am really not into wrestling in any way, but the way that they shoot it and portray it in this movie is so compelling. The way this movie looks is amazing. The way this movie sounds is amazing. My friend got me AAA 24 for my birthday, so they sent me a birthday gift that's the Iron Claw soundtrack on vinyl, and I think it's really, really awesome. The end always gets me. It's such an emotional movie. It's just packed to the brim with emotions and feeling, and it's a big movie with big feelings. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Dude, the dress scene with the mom, oh my god. Number 4 is George Miller's Mad Max Fury Road. This is the action movie of the 21st century. The fact that someone conjured this story and visual language in their brain and then was actually able to put it down and express it is so insane to me. The sets are amazing, the characters are amazing, the action is amazing. Witness me! I love this world, and even though I wasn't huge on Furiosa, this movie is incredible, even without that. This is going to be a film school movie in the future if it isn't already. Number 3 is Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. I had been wanting to watch this movie for a very long time, and I finally just ordered the Criterion edition of it, and I scheduled a day for myself to sit and watch it on my TV with no interruptions. That was a great time. It's astounding how good this film is. Spike Lee directs and stars in this as well. I have a deep love for people that direct and star in the same movie. I think it takes so much talent, and especially in a movie like this where it's funny and charming and also very sad and heavy towards the end. It's amazing. Do the Right Thing is a masterpiece. Inspired viewing for any fan of film in any way. Number 2 is one of my all-time favorite movies, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. This movie is packed with action and fun the entire time. I was skeptical of this movie at first because I hadn't really heard anything huge about it until one of my friends told me that it was one of his favorite movies of all time, so we decided to sit and watch it together. And what I witnessed was Kurt Russell giving such a good performance in a movie that is incredible and so much fun. The basic gist of this movie is that Kurt Russell is a truck driver going through, and he stops in Chinatown, and he gets mixed up in this hijinks of underground battles between ancient magic, and it's absurd and it sounds absurd, but it is so much fun. He plays a bumbling moron who trips and falls his way to the end of the movie, just never does anything the correct way. I think it's one of the most fun movies I've ever seen, and I highly implore you all to watch it. Drum roll, please. My favorite movie that I got to watch this year was, without a doubt, Brian De Palma's Blowout. I have so many thoughts about this movie. It's technical craft at its peak. It's genre at its peak. It's John Travolta at his peak, and it's Brian De Palma at his peak. This movie follows a sound recordist who works for shitty B movies who accidentally records a car crash. This turns into a giant conspiracy that goes all the way through and has a killer and politicians, and it gets crazy and seedy, and I love it. It rocks. I cannot say it enough. I cannot stress how good this movie is. And it also features the setting of my favorite city on planet Earth, Philadelphia. There's so many shots and sequences within this movie that have such precise intent and fully deliver on that intent and perfectly translate it to the viewer. I think every single person on planet Earth should watch Blowout. And those are my 36 favorite movies of the year. Let me know in the comments what you think of my list, and also give me movies I should watch for next year for the first time. My letterbox is linked down below so you can see what I've seen and not seen or whatever. I hope you've all had a wonderful holiday season. I've had a lot of fun making videos for you guys over the last few months, and I'm going to continue to do so. And if you like this video, why not subscribe? It helps out the channel, and I've noticed that a ton of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed, so maybe if you enjoy these, you can stick around and watch them as they come out. I also have a Patreon where I upload every single video that I make a day before they come out on YouTube, so that's only $1 a month. If you feel like supporting me, go ahead. If you don't, who cares? It's okay. These videos will still be here. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
Who are these people?